Hello and welcome back to the Library Show. I'm Mike Kletzly. We want to thank you for joining us in this still new year. We have an exciting show for you today. We have 14 different magazines from the many that the library offers for borrowing to patrons to go over and to show you some of the features of those. We also have an interview with our information desk supervisor, Dylan Posa, about music and the lovers of music. And of course, we have a new story time with Miss Connie. But first up are the magazines that we wanted to let you know about. Again, this is just a small sampling of all the magazines that are available for patrons to borrow at the library. And the first one that we'd like to highlight is called Air and Space Smithsonian. So it's part of the overall Smithsonian group. And this magazine is pretty exciting because it has a brand new feature that I noticed in this issue, and it's called Tell Your Flying Story. And it's for readers to submit their flying stories, whether they be veterans from a war or whether they be civil pilots, but whatever story they might want to tell from their flying days, it has a chance for them to write in and to get that published. It also has an up-to-speed section, which brings readers up to date with the world of flying and some of the things that are happening in that. It also has a calendar of events that are coming up in the world of flying. So if you have an air show coming up or something in your area that you wanted to see, this would be a way for you to keep track of that on the calendar. And again, it's part of the overall Smithsonian family, and so therefore it has a lot of power behind it in terms of research and interviews and things like that. So that's Air and Space Smithsonian Magazine, and that's a neat one that we have for you. We also have a magazine called Artist, and this one is really exciting for those who are into art because it has a lot of self-help type sections in it. I looked at the table of contents for this one, and it just seems to be brimming with things that artists can do to help their cause or help their skills. It has an anatomy of painting, which dissects the painting and tells the different parts of it. It also has a tutorial section to kind of give aspiring painters a way to brush up on their skills, excuse the pun. It also has a lesson section so that they can learn something that they can kind of carry forward. It also has a sketchbook enabling budding artists to begin their work with that. It has a workshop. It has art news, which is kind of just like it sounds. It has a really good smattering of the world of art in terms of current events. And it has the business of art, which takes on the commercial aspect thereof. So it really has a lot for the budding artists to enjoy, and I think it's a neat magazine for those who are interested in that. So that magazine, again, is called Artist Magazine. We also have the Blocks magazine. Now this magazine has been extremely popular. It's dedicated to building with Legos, and it has a very large table of contents. I had to copy it on large paper because it is so extensive. It has a regular section, and those would include a Lego Talk, which is talking about the latest sets that are out there. It features some new sets. It talks about what 2020 has coming up. It also has a hot topic, something that is relatively current and news in the world of Lego and helps the folks to identify with that. It also has Lego Life and Ideas Showcase, and these are things that are new and coming that they're still working on developing, and it's a way for those interested in Legos to kind of get a heads up as to what's coming early on. It has a month in, talks about what's current with different sets that are themed, and also has From the Vault, and it brings out some things that were from before in the world of Lego. And again, this magazine has been very popular with the library, so that's a neat one you might want to check out. It's called Blocks. We also have a magazine of sorts. It's almost kind of a pseudo-magazine, pseudo-book, and this one has lots of short stories for little ones, both fictional and non-fictional, and it's a great way for them to start to discover the world of reading. It talks a lot about the importance of reading in the home and the importance of starting early. So that's a neat thing that we at the library obviously espouse. It also has a coloring sheet and a riddle section, joke section, and it also has different reading exercises that kids can do with their families. So it's really a neat magazine book, I say, and it's got about 8 or 9 different stories in it, each one. So that magazine is called Chirp. We also have a magazine called Chop Chop, and this one's about cooking and food. And this issue was, in particular, was devoted to how food can be a kindness, a service to others. And they talk about, helping with meals for folks who can't get out and things like that. It has a ton of recipes in it, so that right there is obvious. It also has kitchen cash, so it talks about the math and finance of cooking to get kids thinking ahead of what they want to do in their life in terms of what they need to provide food, and also talks about at the grocery store how to do math at the grocery store. It has kitchen science, which is really kind of nice because it talks about the kitchen in terms of a science experiment in a way. It also has a little bit about games and puzzles and solutions, talking about, food and things that can be used as riddles and jokes and brain teasers and things like that. So it's really a neat magazine, and again, it's called Chop Chop, and it's the short title is Chop Chop, and the longer title is the Fun Cooking Magazine for Families. So that's kind of a neat one to look at. This one is called Echoes. It's from the Ohio History Connection, and it's all about Ohio history. And just looking at the table of contents makes you think back to some earlier times in our state. It talks about Whitey's, the White Castle hamburgers. It talks about the Glass City Treasure in Toledo Museum of Art. It also talks about a Haven for Hope, which is a foundation that they wanted to highlight in this issue. It has historic sites and museums at Ohio History Center in Ohio Village, so it talks about those famous museums that we have in our state. It has online features. It also has reviews of different books and publications for Ohio history. So this is a really neat magazine if you're interested in our local history, and of course Lebanon is full of local history, so this might be a magazine you'd like to check out. It's called Echoes. The next one we wanted to highlight is called Family Handyman, and I picked this one in particular because it's the 70th anniversary issue. It's been published since 1951, so this is a 70-year issue right here, and it's kind of got a historical photos throughout it, and that's what I'm featuring right here. It's got some old photos from days gone by in this magazine. The sections that are in the table of contents are just kind of exciting in and of themselves. It has stuff that we love, which is kind of some products and some techniques that this magazine has really liked and they wanted to share. It also has handy hints, which are always helpful to do-it-yourselfers. It has a home lab, which is a kind of a neat way for science and DIY to come together, do-it-yourself and science to come together. It has a section on pro tips, which would save you time and money and mistakes, frankly. So it's a good way to get some good tips if you're looking for home care. It also has some reader info, so this will be ways for you to plug into the magazine if you wanted to do more than just read it. And it has Great Goose. It has mistakes that have gone on to be helpful. So it's kind of a neat little way of looking at things. So this magazine is called Family Handyman, and it's all about DIY, and the 70th anniversary issue is pretty exciting in and of itself. We also have a magazine called Family Tree, and this is obviously devoted to genealogy. And as you know, our library website, online resources, has some ancestry type sites that you can use. But this magazine has a lot of neat things. It has a section called Free and Easy, so it's a way for families to research their lineage without a whole lot of effort or cost. Also has a helping hand, which is ways that readers can share their skills with other readers of what they've discovered. Has some state research guides, which are kind of neat because a lot of times we need the right direction when we're doing our search for family, so this provides some of that. It also has some security measures to be careful when you're tracing your family lineage to make sure that you're not being taken advantage of or opening up some doors in your security that you don't want. And it also has some neat mystery genealogy pieces to it, kind of exciting to look back and see what some questions have been throughout history. So that magazine is called Family Tree, and it's available in our library just like all of these are. This is a neat one that I've liked a lot myself. It's called How It Works, and it's a United Kingdom publication, so it's kind of neat to see some of the language and spellings that they use. But it's basically, in addition to the amazing pictures and illustrations that it has a lot of current events in science to talk about things that are coming up and how they're made and how they work. It also has very detailed diagrams and things like that to help you really explore that article more than just with the words. It has puzzles for the brain teasers among us. It has a brain dump, which is a whole bunch of really quick little snippets about science that kind of catch you up on things. It also has a section called Fast Facts, and it's kind of a run through of numbers that kind of give you some perspective on science. It's really a neat thing. And again, this comes out of a United Kingdom publisher, so it's kind of neat in and of itself for that. So that magazine is called How It Works. We also have a magazine called Imagine FX, FX meaning special effects. And it has some of the artists behind those and some techniques behind those. It features workshops that folks can get started in this industry and maybe catch up with some of the skills. It also has some interviews with artists. As you can see from this page that I highlighted here, it has an interview with an artist. It has fantasy, anime, and comic. It's probably for 15-year-olds and older, and it comes out of England. And it's called a definitive resource. So it's probably one of the highlights of its industry is this magazine. So it's really a neat thing to get started or to brush up on your skills if you're interested in special effects. Again, it's called Imagine FX. And then, of course, we have a standby that's been in American families and homes for decades, National Geographic. And I highlighted this picture because it's really a neat layout of some detailed descriptions. But as you know, the Reader's Digest the National Geographic is known for its iconic photography. So that's still a hallmark of it, but also has now some neat illustrations and some computer-generated diagrams and things, and some fold-out illustrations. So it's really neat in that way. The maps, as you know from National Geographic, are unparalleled, and it has a lot of current event things nowadays, so that's kind of exciting. I understand, if I'm not mistaken, it's the most kept magazine in American households. So it's a neat thing, and we do subscribe to it, so it's a good way for you to get started on it or continue your love of it over the years. So that's that. We also have the National Review, which is a lot of politics and things from current events. There's no real pictures to feature in this one because it really is pretty much essays and articles and different exposés and things like that. The sections include This Week, so that's a lot of current events, of course. It also has a book review, and that says singular, but there are numerous books often reviewed, so that's exciting per issue. And of course, it has the articles that I mentioned that are chock full of ideas and current events, and it's just pretty much prose. So it's neat to look at. So that magazine is called National Review. We also have Practical Homeschooling, and I picked this one because it's obviously pretty current with the homeschooling nowadays with folks with COVID fears and things like that. So we do have a homeschooling magazine. It gives your child an inside track with everything from preschool through college prep. So it's not just the little ones, even though the illustrations often look like they're for the little ones. It's for everybody. There are some expert columnists in the world of homeschooling, and you'll see that as you page through these. And there's tons of free resources in this. So this magazine alone can help the homeschooling family to really get a leg up on what they're wanting to do with their child. So that one is called Practical Homeschooling, and of course it's available at the library as well. And lastly, another stalwart of the American household, Reader's Digest. And Reader's Digest is a favorite of mine as well, and I hope it is of yours if you want to borrow it from our library. It has a section nowadays called Everyday Heroes, and those stories are neat because they do tell stories of people who have helped other people in real life situations. It has a lot of different areas for humor. It has humor in real life, humor in uniform, and all kinds of things that people have written in. It also has laughter is the best medicine, and that, of course, would be jokes and things. It has lots of puzzles. It has vocabulary words, so a lot of times when we're homeschooling, we're trying to build our children's vocabulary, and one way to do it is to look at the vocab section in the Reader's Digest. It has a new section called the Photo Caption Contest, and that's at the back of it, and they would show a photo and then ask for people to write in their favorite funny caption, and then they'll pick one per month. I've heard before that it's the most widely read magazine, and I think it is still quite popular. So if you want to check that out, we do have the Reader's Digest at the library. So that's a smattering of the magazines that we have in our library for borrowing. Again, that's only 14 of the many. So please come check it out on our website, reserve some, and come to our curbside numbers and call in, and we'll bring them out to you once you've reserved them. Up next, we'll have our information desk supervisor, Dylan Posa, to talk to us about music lovers.
Say with me, imagine what you'd see if every child had a book to read. So the mission is for us to get a book to each and every child.
Read to a child today and spark a lifetime of ambition.
I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it. My support team never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew who I could become as a person. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
The vaping industry spends millions marketing their products to young people. They think they can fool you with the flavors and packaging, but they don't tell you about the toxic and addictive chemicals inside. To learn more, visit sapcwarrencounty.org.
Welcome back to the Library Show. I am now joined by our Information Desk Supervisor, Dylan Posa. And Dylan is back on the show, which we're glad to have you anytime.
Always back on the show.
Love it. But you're here this time to talk about a segment regarding music lovers, am I right?
Well, you know, I am one.
Well, you are. You're a resident musician, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your musical forays.
Oh, gosh. Okay, short bio. Let's see. I'm from Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I started playing in bands for real, like for money, or a little bit of money,
Yeah, right.
when I was in my early 20s.
Okay.
I've been on records. I've toured around the country. I've been to just about every state except for Hawaii and Alaska. Played on other people's records, recorded, been in the studio several times, been in big studios. I don't have a Grammy or anything. I'm not on that level yet.
Well, but you've accomplished a lot, it sounds like.
I feel like I have.
Yeah.
Within a certain world.
Right.
I don't have a wiki page yet, but that's just because I'm not making it. I'm waiting for someone else to do that.
Well, it sounds like you're very experienced and the perfect person for this segment right now.
Well, thank you. So I love books on music. I love kind of off-kilter books on music. So I've highlighted a few that I think are really cool.
Okay.
So I've got some fiction and some nonfiction. One of the books, so here's a novel I really liked. It's called White Tears. It's by Hari Kunzru. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Okay.
So the story goes like this. There's these two kind of music nerds, and they live together. And one day they kind of gin up this fake blues recording, this fake like 78 lost recording.
Okay.
It's like one of the guys records a guy just singing in the park, and then he puts a little guitar accompaniment to it, like artificially adds some like record scratchy noise, some surface noise, and then throws it up on an MP3 site. And they're just having fun with this idea that it's this like fake lost blues recording. But then they get contacted by a collector who said, I can't believe you found this. I need a copy of this.
Oh my.
And so it turns into this weird metaphysical thing, like, did they actually bring this record into being by doing this? Or is this a game that's being played against them? So it's pretty cool. It's got some beautiful language too. It's sort of it's got a sort of a dreamy quality sometimes to it. It's a cool book though. And it's a little weird.
Sounds like a mystery for music lovers.
Yeah. I'm glad you said mystery. I've got some coming up here.
Okay.
The next book that I want to talk about, it's called Old Records Never Die by Eric Spitznagel. I guess not really a mystery. So here's what happens. This guy, he had a record collection. This is nonfiction. He had a record collection when he was younger, sold it off, as a lot of people do. Sold it off to pay bills or whatever.
Right.
He gets it into his head that at some point he wants to actually get his records back.
Oh, wow.
He doesn't want to just buy them again. He wants his copies. He wants all of the stuff that he lived with those records. Like one of the records has like an old girlfriend's phone number on the inner sleeve.
Gotcha.
He wants that copy.
That very copy.
He doesn't want just any copy from a used record store. He wants his copy. And so he sets off on this weird, bizarre road trip trying to track, I mean, can you imagine trying to track down like your specific copy? It's really cool. It's kind of fun. It's written sort of in this off-the-cuff, humorous style. He recognizes how ridiculous this is.
Right.
And I think he sort of questions, like, is this like my version of a midlife crisis?
Right.
So he has a lot of fun with it. So that's a fun book.
Did you say that was nonfiction?
Yeah, that's nonfiction.
So there's some truth behind this.
That's all truth, yeah.
Oh, wow.
He actually tried to do this.
Oh my gosh.
And you'd be surprised at how many he actually tracked down.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not zero.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. That's a cool book. And
Yeah.
it gets you, if you're a collector or an accumulator or, of anything,
Mm-hmm.
you'll recognize just how ridiculous this task is.
Right.
Like whether it's cars or toys or dolls or whatever,
Right.
trying to get your specific one back, I mean, yeah, it's almost impossible.
So for him to get any back was really interesting.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Like I said, it's not zero. It's a
Right.
non-zero. So yeah, any number more than zero is kind of a big feat.
Yes, sir. I agree. Well, that's a neat book.
That's a cool book.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. So mystery. I wanted to get back to mystery because I've got this kind of in every other. Got another fiction book. It's called Endgame by Jeffrey Round. You know the story, And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. This is And Then There Were None with a rock band. Fictional, of course, but
Right.
it's this band that they've been invited to this island to reform one last time. And then gradually things start happening to the members of the band. And it's that kind of story, like who's doing this, what's the motivation.
Right. Who's next?
Yeah, who's next, exactly. So that's a fun book.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's kind of an upgraded or updated Agatha Christie book.
And then there were none.
Yeah. So that's fun. I don't think there are 10 people in the band, though.
Yeah, that'd be a big band.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I'm not going to spoil the ending, but it's a bit of a twist. So that was kind of cool. That was a nice one.
That sounds like a good one.
It was weird. It got my attention too because I think, and I could be wrong, but I think there's a chess piece in the front, which I'm also really into. So it's like, oh, cool, weird book about music, weird book about music with a chess piece in the front.
So it grabbed you twice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Coming back to records, another nonfiction book. It's called Do Not Sell at Any Price by Amanda Petrusic. I don't know if let's just say something like that.
Yes.
So she explores kind of the wild and wacky collector market of 78 records.
Okay.
I don't know if you know, like 78 was a very early precursor to the records we know now. They were bigger, heavier. They played 78 RPMs. They played much faster.
Yes.
So you fit a lot less information. Generally, about one song on a record this big.
Okay.
And they play this huge needles like come down on this thing, like just you think, my God, that thing must be gouging a divot in this
The
record.
whole thing, yeah.
But that's how they played.
Huh.
Anyway, she gets into this world of these 78 collectors. And it's crazy. The title comes from one of these 78 collectors. He's got a note on his collection for some of these records, basically saying, this thing is priceless, literally priceless. So do not sell at any price.
Gotcha.
Do not sell this record. At one point, a little bit of a stunt book. At one point, she's doing research, and she comes across some news reports of this old building, and it used to be a pressing plant for 78s, and it's near, I forget exactly where it is, but it's near a body of water, and she thinks, I wonder if they dumped anything in the lake. So she takes scuba lessons.
Does she really?
Yeah, and she goes down and dives, hoping to maybe find some of these old records down at the bottom of this. She doesn't find them. Spoiler alert, she doesn't find anything. But it just kind of goes to show, like, that's what this world does to people. It makes people crazy.
Right.
Because that's, in certain cases, there's one or two copies left.
Right.
So, and everybody wants, if you're a collector, you want that record.
Right.
And if there's only one of them, it's a little bit more difficult.
Right. Right.
So yeah, records change hands for tens of thousands of dollars in this world, and it's It's fun. It's a fun read.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. It's,
And I missed it. Was it non or was it
this is
fiction?
nonfiction.
Nonfiction,
Yeah.
okay.
This one's all true, yeah.
Wow.
All kinds of crazy stories. And she talks to certain people. She talks to collectors. She talks to dealers. She talks to record executives.
Wow.
She talks to a couple musicians. Kind of gets a full picture of this world.
Yeah.
This world of just very, very old recordings.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some of these people, the musicians, they would be recorded basically on their porch.
Right.
And they have no idea their records went out into the world.
Right.
You know, they
Right.
didn't get any royalties, they didn't
Right.
get any fame or fortune.
Mm-hmm.
But here's this thing that they, sat down and recorded for 8 minutes,
Right.
and it's worth $100,000 or
Right.
something. You know, it's just
Amazing.
crazy.
That sounds like a good read.
That was really entertaining.
Yeah.
Last record is a series, actually. The title is Written in Dead Wax. It's by Andrew Cartmel, but he's got a whole series. And this is like it's not a cozy mystery, but it's a mystery series. It's The Vinyl Detective. And this guy is, he sort of puts himself out there. He's a record collector, audiophile. And he puts himself out there as the vinyl detective. He will search out and find any record that people want him to.
Wow.
But and the first volume gets into, yes, someone approaches him, they want this record, but there's a mystery behind the record. All kinds of the traditional mystery stuff ensues. Bodies start showing up. There's a threat to their life and limb. Other characters come in and you start being suspicious of their motives. Did they do it? Are they, like a lot of good mysteries.
Right.
He's a
right.
good English guy. His sense of humor is very dry and English. They're up to five books, I think, in
Are
the
they?
series. Yeah.
So it's a go.
Yeah. And there's always, and for like record nerds, there's always a lot of, the records are all made up, but there's a lot of good, solid trivia and bits that are real.
Right.
Based like audiophile stuff, about how you should store your records, how you should play your records, just kind of record nerd stuff,
Well, it's good to know, though.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool stuff. You can tell he knows his stuff.
Right.
You can tell he comes from that world.
Right. Well, if I'm not mistaken, records have had a comeback in the true audio
That's right.
lovers world because of the fidelity of them. Am I right?
It's the fidelity, it's the art. I mean, we could do a whole show on this. It's the fact that so digital files, I'm going to get on my soapbox a little bit. Digital files, you don't actually own them. You're borrowing them. They can be taken from you at any point.
Gotcha.
You don't have the rights to them. You buy a record, it's yours to keep. You could do whatever you want with it. Snap it over your knee, loan it to a friend. You can't loan your audio, your digital audio.
Right.
You just can't.
So it's the difference.
It's the difference. And
Yeah.
I think that's what people are responding to a little
Right.
bit. That beautiful record cover,
Yeah.
there's nothing like it.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, for the first time, record sales have surpassed CD sales.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Huh.
Since the CD was introduced, I guess.
Right. Right. Now it's a recent statistic?
Yeah, I think that was last year. The
Wow.
records have surpassed CD sales.
Well,
Yeah.
never say never.
It's still a fraction of digital, right?
Right.
But it's a good thing. Good thing for record
Yeah.
nerds like me.
That's neat. Well, those are 5 very extraordinary books. Thank
Yeah,
you for sharing those.
very interested. Maybe I'll come back another time and do another 5.
We would love to have you back.
There's more than 5.
I bet. Well, you picked some good ones.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll have you back and we'll explore that some
Yeah.
more.
Maybe I'll go a little bit more mainstream next time.
Well,
But that's not where I tend to lean.
Well, but the exciting ones are exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're enjoyable
Well, neat.
and different too.
Yes. Well, thank you for being here. We'll have you back soon.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Up next, we'll have Miss Connie and her famous story time.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but one of the teachers was Miss Araceli. She gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll sit there with you until you get it. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Your hometown source, the Lebanon Channel, is now on YouTube.
I know how fortunate I am.
Just search City of Lebanon, Ohio to connect with everything that's happening right here.
And that's going to be an exciting part about this walking tour.
Subscribe to receive exclusive local content available only on the Lebanon Channel.
Wow, Neil Armstrong's coming to my launch. I was so excited about that.
That's the City of Lebanon, Ohio, now on YouTube.
That's what makes this Lebanon, Ohio a great place to live.
Yeah. Hi everyone, it's Miss Connie from the Lebanon Public Library. Thanks for joining me. Are you ready to hear a story? All right, let's wake the book bunny up. Say those words with me. Book bunny, it's time for story time to begin. Well, hello book bunny. Can you give everybody a wave? Can you wave back to the book bunny? He's really happy you're joining us. So we'll just set the book bunny over here. And let's see what's inside our mystery box. Mystery box, mystery box. What's inside the mystery box? Mystery box, mystery box. What's inside the mystery box? All right, let's take a little peek inside that mystery box and we will get a clue about our story. Let's see, we'll take the lid off. Inside there is one object. This object is, well, it has pages. It has words on the pages. It has illustrations or artwork inside, and you can read it. Are you thinking? Are you coming up with some ideas? Did you think perhaps that it is a book? If you did, that's correct. Our story today is called Reading Makes You Feel Good. So the book was inside the mystery box today. This book is written and illustrated by Todd Parr, and he also has very colorful illustrations or artwork in his books. Reading makes you feel good because you can imagine you are a brave princess or a scary dinosaur. Help, help, save me. Grrr. You can learn about cool places and people. You can make a new friend. And you can do it anywhere. Reading makes you feel good because you can learn how to make pizza. You must be using a cookbook. You can find your favorite animal at the zoo. You can read all the signs to tell where the animals are. You can make someone feel better when they are sick. You can travel to faraway places. And you can do it anywhere. Reading makes you feel good because you can do it all by yourself. You can learn how to take care of your pet. Quack, quack. You can follow signs on the road. You can share a book with anyone. There's the library right there. And you can do it anywhere. That's a big vehicle called the Bookmobile. It has books inside that you can check out. Reading is important. When you read or when someone reads, it helps you learn and discover new things. Curl up with someone special and read a book. You'll feel really good. Love, Todd. Look at that. You can have all kinds of adventures just by reading a book. Thanks everybody for joining me. I'll see you the next time. Bye.
Welcome back to the Library Show. I'm Mike Kletzly, and I hope you've enjoyed today's show. We had a pretty wide assortment of sections. But I wanted to close by letting you know, now that we're entering almost a year of our pandemic, that we still offer our services curbside. And as many of you know, those services are pretty wider than we might think. We offer not only books curbside, but the magazines, the audio books, the other things that we've always offered. You can borrow those by going onto our website and reserving them or calling in, and then we'll tell you when you can come pick them up. You just pull up curbside and we'll bring them right out to you. We also have, for service, we have laptops that you can borrow and use on our parking lot, and you can tap into our Wi-Fi with those. All we need is a state ID, like a driver's license, and then we'll trade you that for the time that you're using the laptop. We also have fax services. If you need to have something faxed, just bring the original in with the number that you need faxed to. We'll take care of it and bring it back out to you and tell you that you can expect a receipt soon. We also have the printing of basic copies like you've always done, but also printouts from computers or phones. If you have an email you need printed out, you just come to our curbside as well to call us in, tell us what number spot you're in, and we can have that printed out for you. Again, through your phone or through a laptop that you borrow from us. We'll bring those out to you. And all these services are at no charge during the pandemic, so that folks can come and use us as they pretty much did before. It just has to be curbside. And just come to our parking lot, pull into a numbered spot, and call us at 932-2665, 932-BOOK, and tell us what you need, and we'll send somebody out. We'll help you out. So thanks for sticking with us through this difficult time. We hope that we're able to help you soon, and just come to our curbside and we'll do whatever we can. Thanks so much for tuning in.